Introductions are always a useful formality. My name is Harrison and I'm a card collector and card art enthusiast. I make content under the handle Holo Harrison, predominantly Pokemon content on Instagram, and I'm just beginning my journey creating longer form content for YouTube. I'm incredibly excited to announce my relationship with Majesty Grading Company, extending my passion for the details and my enthusiasm for the history, the art and the context of the cards we all love into their trusting and loyal community. This initial Holo Harrison and MGC content series focuses on the top 10 MGC graded cards of the month. Each month we'll look back at MGC submissions and I'll be given the task to run you through my top 10 and provide my opinion on why each card or ticket or pack deserves that particular spot. Majesty Grading Company have been there right from the start of me getting back into the hobby in 2022, and I can't wait to work with them and make some unique content for you all to enjoy. Now you know me, let's jump into April's top 10. Kicking us off at number 10 is a one-of-one dual autograph card from the Topps 2018 Walking Dead Road to Alexandria set. There's always an edge to a one-of-one card, a niggling optimism that sits on our shoulder, watching with shared hope when opening a set that includes one. It's an unavoidably addictive part of the hobby to chase the card that only you might own, and the moment between ripping a pack and sliding the cards away to potentially unveil the card is undeniably exciting. Seeing a one-of-one card with a dual autograph from such an iconic franchise just screams potential grail. I remember watching the initial few series of The Walking Dead at lunchtimes with my colleagues. We shared a mutual love for zombie horror and I'm transported back to those wonderful memories with wonderful people achieving wonderful things when I'm looking at this card. Shout out the Walking Dead lunchtime crew, you know who you are. Elisa's Sparkle, graded as a 10, makes my top 10 because of a very personal experience I had when ripping my first ever Crown Zenith pack. Lady Luck, on the odd occasion, does grace me with their presence, and after thinking I struck cardboard gold with a Mewtwo V-Star Galarian Gallery 44, you can imagine my surprise when an Elisa's Sparkle was sitting right behind. First pack magic. A bit about the card though. A content but contemplative Elisa sits chin in hand with sparkling blue eyes that give away her drifting concentration. I like to think her headphones, if they are headphones, are playing music of such personal meaning that the world filled with Pikachu, Charizard and Jigglypuff behind and below don't exist. Where music fills all senses and defines all present meaning. Might have to get the MGC team to grade my Elisa. Akira Kamiyama's Miriam has an unbelievable presence on social media. The appetite for this card doesn't seem to be wavering either. At the London Card Show this past April, I witnessed many people buying this card, and to be honest, it does look very pretty. The soft pastel palette is beautiful, but sort of at war with the harsher blue silhouette that tracks Miriam's exaggerated stumble sequence. A bit like an old Looney Tunes cartoon where the form of a moving character stays in place long after they're gone. I really dig the clumsy librarian narrative painted on the card. The nosy but indifferent Pikachu making a muted appearance in the top right window, all framed by the silver edges of English language card modernity. Also reminds me of Orangaroo from Brilliant Stars, which I also think has a delicious illustrative style. Good work, Kamiyama. James Dean, Marlon Brando, Elvis Presley, all guys whose style I've admired and at times attempted to emulate over the years with debatable success. There's very few people who take their place in the public eye and have a timelessness that transcends the cool of any era. Elvis, especially young Elvis, is one of those people for me. Clothing, fashion, style, whatever you want to call it, is definitive of our jobs, our loves, our interests, our hobbies, our eccentricities or lack of, our seriousness or our rebelliousness. It's an aesthetic commentary on who we are, or more accurately, who we want to be. I was thrilled to see this card as an option to talk about. It reminds me of everything I just mentioned and also of how culturally important Elvis was and still is, and how collectibles allow us to own a moment in time borrowing something from someone we admire. At the time of recording this video, Erling Haaland has scored 48 goals in all competitions in his first season for Manchester City. 48! As a football fan, it's been impossible to ignore the sense of something or someone special happening this season. These types of numbers and records and consistencies are rarely seen in footballers, let alone ones so young and in their first full Premier League season. This 2022 Leaf Signature Series Erling Haaland is another one of one on this top 10 list. I really like the simplicity of this card. It has a distinct vintage feel that emphasises the player's portrait and the most important component of the card, the signature. Considering when I'm reviewing these cards at the tail end of a memorable and enigmatic first season in English football, it was difficult to overlook the potential future importance of a card like this. Perhaps I should start collecting Haaland cards to add to my modest Messi collection. Historical. The number 5 spot is taken up by the representation of a milestone rather than a specific card. That milestone being MGC now offering grading services for packs, tickets and larger cards. It means that MGC customers and prospective customers can now extend their trusted relationship with MGC in even more ways, with even more of their collection. Congrats. Okay, so we're halfway through this top 10, and if you're enjoying this video, it's a good opportunity to ask you to subscribe to both mine and Majesty Grading Company's YouTube and Instagram channels. You'll find many more of these types of musings at Holo Harrison, including my favourite series to make, Card Art Critic, where I dissect card art like a pseudo-critic. Sometimes, some people when they think of football, think of salaries, glamour, petulance, luxury lifestyles and connect those things in an argument against the sport and those that play it. Perhaps all of that might be true, that's for others to judge. But for me, football is Pele. It's hope, optimism, discipline, grace, skill, social empowerment, cultural influence, emotion, community, elegance, theatre, drama, love, and everything else life has to offer a human being. Watching Pele, listening to people speak of Pele, saying the name Pele, I get a sense of an iconic person, a forever brand, who created more meaning in the lives of the people around them than they otherwise would have had without him. A 1 of 5 2022 Panini Gold autograph card that has the image of the icon, the penmanship of the hero, and the confidence of an MGC authentication all in one important card. I personally own an MGC 10 Ancient Mew in my collection. I've repeatedly told people how important this card is to me. Missing out during the initial movie release when I was a kid in 2000, and seeing it again when picking up the hobby in 2022 was a huge factor in establishing the seed of passion that's quickly gathered pace since I acquired it. How cool are the mysterious, ancient hieroglyphs, the primitive star-dusted holo effect, the golden carving of the borders, icons and Mew itself. The reds, greens, blues, purples dazzling out from the centerpiece of Mew like a foreboding warning to anyone who awakens the sleeping ancient Pokemon. My imagination goes wild with this card, imagining an ancient civilization engaging with the earliest forms of Pokemon, documenting them and their lore on caves, in sand, drawing their image wherever they could. This card is a meta artifact enabling the Pokemon Company to highlight just how much Mew is at the origins of the Pokemon story. I'll always love this card. I'm not going to go into the details of what makes this MGC 10 2 of 2 gold breakaway auto so damn special. MGC did a fantastic job documenting the story of this card in their recent film 24 Hours. I'd highly recommend watching it, as it's the first-hand account of the importance of this card and MGC's commitment to their service. But what I will briefly discuss is why anything Messi means so much to me. I've started a modest Messi card collection of my own, a couple of PSG Futera cards, and I'm genuinely grateful for what Messi has done for sport. When I watch Messi, I feel the same as when I watch Federer. To quote David Foster Wallace, watching people like this defy the logic of having a physical body. It's almost a religious experience. I remember flying from Pittsburgh to New York on a tiny little plane. I was anxious, terrified in fact, and I've been watching an Amazon series called This Is Football, and the next episode was called Wonder, which focused on Messi. Ballet dancers, mathematicians and former coaches all gathered to offer a unique lens on the brilliance of Messi. Why he moved like a dancer, thought like a mathematician. As I watched and listened, tiny tears rolled down my cheeks. I'd forgotten I was on a plane, a tiny plane, thousands of feet in the sky, because I was hypnotised by the poetry of Messi. This card is my number 2 because of how significant Messi has been to my enjoyment of sport. Number 1 for this first Holo Harrison MGC top 10 list is a bit of a no-brainer, and it's a number 1 for multiple reasons. A first edition shadowless Charizard graded as an MGC 6 that sold for £4,500, a record for the most expensive card sold that was graded by a UK company at the time. That's reason 1. Reason 2, in my opinion, is even more interesting. The owner of this card decided to cross-grade it with PSA, with it being returned as a 6, the same grade given by MGC. Now I know MGC won't mind me saying that the UK grading industry has some work to do to build its reputation towards the heights of the US companies. Time and history is on the side of the US giants after all. But what I admire in any person, any business or team is the commitment and enthusiasm to defy the odds in spite of the odds, to recognise an opportunity and go for it. It's one of the reasons I'm so proud to represent MGC Services, to support a flourishing UK business operating in an industry I love as they look to reach the heights of their established peers. It's a story I want to be a part of. I'm sure this first edition shadowless Charizard will be a pivotal chapter in this story.